Welcome to Who Knew. We are fans of the current series of Doctor Who, and here we discuss our likes, dislikes, and insights into the modern regeneration of the show. Subscribe, review, and listen to us on iTunes and Stitcher, or our YouTube channel, youtube.com/whoknewpodcast. All our episodes are on whoknewpodcast.com. You can leave comments there, or email us at whoknewpodcast@gmail.com. We also have an Instagram and Twitter account. Tweet at us at whoknewpodcast, and find us on Facebook. Today's episode is episode 7 of season 4, The Unicorn and the Wasp. The Doctor and Donna meet Agatha Christie in a classic whodunnit, but with a twist. This episode is written by Gareth Roberts, directed by Graham Harper. It originally aired on the 17th of May, 2008, and was watched by 8.14 million viewers. Let's introduce ourselves.
Hi, this is Frank.
Hello, this is Auburn.
Hi, this is Josh.
This is Brian.
And this is Eugene.
On an estate perched among the beautiful English countryside, where the wealthy hide their secrets as surely as they flaunt their possessions, a little blue box appears. From it emerges a dashing young man in a rumpled suit and a brown overcoat that seems to be made solely to billow as he runs. He escorts a thoroughly modern woman who emits an air of cynicism as he professes to know the date simply by the smell of grass and lemonade. That was a moment with Frank, and back to our original programming.
The TARDIS arrives in 1926. No, I'm just kidding. The TARDIS arrives in 1926 on the countryside estate of Lady Eddison. Guests begin to arrive for a party. Professor Peach greets Reverend Golightly and then heads to the library to do some research before the party begins. There, it's Professor Peach in the library with the lead pipe.
Was this the first location shoot that we've had this season?
No, they went to Italy for Fires of Pompeii.
Okay. But this one definitely, the opening, all the shots. Josh, I think you liked when the TARDIS materialized.
Like in the garden area?
Yeah, that opening
yeah.
shot was just very colorful. I like the way it was framed.
Yeah.
This whole show is shot very nicely. Some of it's typical and supposed to be reminiscent of the Agatha Christie movies and stuff like that, but it's very definitive, I guess, in its camera work and everything, but done very well. Almost every shot is a nice composition, and a lot of times when you do every shot as a nice composition, it's a little over stimulating to the eye, but I felt this was really well done, and even though the special effects were good and slightly obvious, it just worked really well. But it's a really nice looking episode.
Yeah, I really liked in this opening sequence as well, there's a nice jib shot over a tree that reveals the house. And every time I see it, it's a really good shot. It makes me...
With the music.
Yeah.
And last night, decided to do like what we did with Tooth and Claw. We turned down the color on our TV and watched it in black and white.
It was good.
And it was good. It works that way. And it really brought out, to me, the camera angles.
Did the special effects look better in black and white, I bet? Or did you not even think about it?
Really didn't even think about it.
I think so. It must have
Maybe
done something
that means it
tone
worked
it down.
better.
So
I
that
bet
it
you
worked.
they did.
That means it worked better then.
I mean, there were some shots that, because of the way that we light things now, seemed odd and almost on video. But most of the ones that went to the mood and what was going on in the scene worked really well.
The lightning and thunder over the mansion looked great in black and white.
It was.
So I do have a question. And that question is, so we see Professor Peach and he turns around and he says, "Oh, it's you." And we don't know what's going on. And then we get a quick shot of a wasp-like creature. So my question is, what does a wasp-like creature need with a lead pipe?
That's answered later.
It's answered later.
It is?
Yes, it is.
I think so.
It is.
Oh, okay. Well then.
No, be sure to put a pin in that.
Be sure.
So when we get to it, yes, please.
Okay.
I thought it was a little interesting that the professor greets the Reverend and tells the Reverend that he wants to be alone to go look at what's in the library.
Yeah.
So I think that's a little, once you find out what he's looking for, brings
Yes.
more meaning to it on the second or third time you watch it.
Also, if you pay closer attention to the dialogue exchange between them, it's very telling.
The Doctor and Donna use the psychic paper as their invitation, and Lady Eddison remarks that she is a bit wary of people since a jewel thief called the Unicorn is on the loose. They also meet her husband, Colonel Kirbishley, and their grown son, Roger, who begins flirting with Donna, but she notices that he has eyes for the footman Davenport. Rubina Redmond, a socialite, and Reverend Golightly join them. They discuss the recent break-in at the church and how lucky it was the Reverend was there to stop the ruffians. Finally, the special guest arrives, Agatha Christie. The Doctor notices the date on the newspaper as the day Agatha Christie famously disappeared.
First, I like the spinning newspapers. We get that here.
Yeah, that's great.
It's like one of those cliche check marks, but of course we're going to have that.
Well, I do that, yeah.
And then we get the Donna trying to talk in the vernacular,
right.
and then the Doctor.
And there's that callback.
No.
No, don't do that.
Same thing in Tooth and Claw,
Tooth and Claw
right?
with Rose, yeah.
And then with Martha with Shakespeare Code.
So I like that we get that.
So this is one of those other stories similar to the last episode where it's a fun episode. But this one holds up and is written better and has some great lines with the whole Donna comes out, clapper or slapper. You know, it just has good character moments and good dialogue.
I love the Doctor's reaction to that.
Because you think he's going to go one way because of his like
I like how he
furrowed
just,
brow.
Yes. And then he's just, oh, you look lovely. And there's no pretense or joke or anything behind it. It's just, you look lovely. I also like the little thing where Donna is saying, oh, all the handsome gents are on the other bus. But the real joke is the Doctor saying, or Time Lords.
Yeah, that's
I
the same
took
thing.
it as I'm handsome too.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's funny.
Yeah, I think this, especially after the last episode, The Doctor's Daughter, this one, is fun and pretty quick pace, but the story is definitely more solid. And I think Donna and the Doctor get more of a chance to be in their characters with each other. Like the last episode with Martha and with Jenny, we had kind of too much happening, and this we get back to the Doctor and Donna just having that great repartee and finishing each other, well, maybe not finishing each other's sentences, but they play off each other so much better in this episode.
I think too that this episode had its own kind of template because of Agatha Christie and her novels, because that it was following. So it was not, I was about to say it's a little fill in the blanks, but not in a bad way. So it kind of had that help with its own structure.
But it wasn't just Agatha Christie that's following. It's following Clue, or in
Right.
UK, Clue.
Well, yeah, but Clue is following Agatha Christie.
But we just met all the characters.
Right.
And so we just met all the characters from Clue.
Right, but that's a trope from Agatha Christie that's in the Clue or Cluedo for those of you across the pond.
But that's what I liked about Miss Scarlet being Miss Redmond.
Oh, I didn't catch that. I caught Mr. Peach or Professor
Plum
Peach.
to Professor Peach.
Reverend Golightly, not that has a connection, but I think it's a funny...
Well, later on in the UK, it's
Reverend Green.
Green.
Yeah.
So
It's
they
not
do
Mr.
have...
Green,
It's not Mr. Green.
it's
It's
Reverend
Reverend
Green.
Green. It's Reverend Green.
In certain editions. They have a lot of editions.
Miss Peacock being Mrs.
Edison being the woman in blue,
Oh, okay.
and then Colonel Mustard, or the Colonel Kirbishley.
Oh, not Colonel Sanders.
being Colonel. And Mrs. White, Chandalaka, the maid and house.
Like maid servant, head
Yeah, but
servant.
she's the head household.
Yeah.
Well, there's a maid in Clue,
She's a housekeeper.
but Mrs. White, what's
Mrs. White was a character in Clue.
but what's the connection?
She was the maid.
Oh, she
in
was
Clue.
the maid. I didn't
the,
catch
the
that.
Indian.
I don't remember well enough. Oh, in
No,
the
game.
in the game.
In the game,
In-
she was a maid. Okay.
I was wondering what the name is in the game.
Gotcha.
You're saying Mrs. White is the housekeeper,
Right.
or the
Right.
maid.
Yes.
So, I mean, I kind of didn't really put it all together until this time.
Right.
was
I
like,
got
wait,
the
oh, no,
Professor
I get
Peach,
it.
but I didn't get all the other.
But I got
people.
that they were just a simple,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, the lead pipe.
Like stand-ins.
stereotyped
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
characters
everything.
that you're going to
Archetypes.
need for this.
At first, I thought with the lead pipe, when I couldn't remember what happens later, is that the lead pipe is Clue. I don't.
Right.
Why would a big insect need that? I can't remember. I guess I'll find out later.
And they called it lead piping
Yeah, they called it lead piping,
because
which
in certain early UK editions, it was called lead piping. And apparently the tokens were actually made out of lead, which posed a risk of lead poisoning.
you know me.
Double play-ons.
That was meta, where you play the game and become part of it.
Well, that's right. So Parker Brothers did it in the living room with the game pieces.
And did you read about the gun? Revolver. First depicted in the UK as a Dresse, DREYSEM 1907 semi-automatic pistol, and in North America as a Colt M1911 pistol. Beginning in 1972, all editions typically now represent an Allen and Thurber pepperbox revolver. And they say spanner and we say wrench.
Yes, they do.
In addition, there were 9 weapons, including the unused bomb, syringe, shillelagh. I've been hit with a shillelagh. Thanks, Mom. fireplace poker,
Poking at you.
and the later used axe and poison.
A bomb would be like
Too
you wouldn't follow the clues. Like
It's just a
what killed him in this room? Sorry, still thinking about that.
And Ludo is a traditional board game in which the players race their game pieces around the board according to rolls of the dice.
And then Cluedo is from the play on clue, and Ludo, which is Latin for I play.
Again, we get the "we're not a couple,"
Right. Yeah,
which
yeah.
still is a great little
It's
fun
funny.
running gag.
Well, it's funny to see how they're going to react.
Right.
'Cause they react slightly differently every time.
They notice that Professor Peach hasn't come down from the library, so Lady Eddison sends her maid, Mrs. Chandrakala, to find him. Find him she does, dead, and runs back to the party screaming bloody murder.
With their hands waving in the air.
Everyone runs to the library where Agatha pockets some evidence, and the doctor uses the psychic paper as his credentials to pose as Chief Inspector Smith from Scotland Yard, known as the Doctor. He tells them all to go to the sitting room where he will question them later. He finds morphic residue that indicates the killer is an alien in human form. So now he's known as Chief Inspector Smith. John Smith
John
being
Smith,
his
yes.
alias or whatever,
I like the reference to Charles Dickens.
Oh,
with Donna.
wait,
Oh, that'd be
hold
like
the
meeting
quote.
Charles Dickens, and there's actually ghosts running around at Christmas.
On Christmas, right.
Well,
And then I like his reaction. He's like,
Did you Naughty? Was that the
Yeah, what is that?
character?
it's a series of British children's books, and they made them into like now TV cartoons and movies and things. And apparently, the books are from mid 20th century, but they're still doing.
He looks
TV
kind of
stuff.
elfish, I think.
He
I
has a
saw
little,
some
he was
images.
like a little wooden,
Nobby from
Yeah.
little wooden boy,
Okay.
kind of a thing. I didn't read it very much, but yeah, he was like a little wooden boy that goes out and has adventures.
There's another trope with the victim's watch stops at time of death.
Yes, I know. Yeah, that's always convenient.
Who makes these crappy watches?
Not Timex, because they take a licking.
They do. Well, he didn't lick it.
this doctor would lick it, though.
That's true. That's true. I did like that. Part of me is just like, oh, geez, that. But I'm like, of course that. That's the whole point. She probably came up with that.
But his watch stopping at 4:13 is a reference to the Agatha Christie novel The Clocks, where the clocks are frozen at 4:13.
Oh, that's cool.
There's a lot of references.
Oh,
Oh
I'm sure.
my
I'm
God,
sure.
tons.
Yeah, yeah.
Tons. Like everything they say is a title of a book. And sometimes they say it like, so I'm saying a line and then the title of the book. Like Chandrakala says he had a destiny with death or something.
Appointment.
Appointment. Yeah, he had an appointment with death.
No, she's also Dead Man's Folly and The Body in the Library, and so it's just tons of them.
Sorry for not doing the research, but do we know how many total books Agatha Christie wrote by the time she passed away? More
can
than
look it up.
6.
Much more than
Yeah.
6. Yeah, especially if she hadn't invented Miss Marple yet.
Yeah.
So 7. Just kidding.
She wrote 66 detective novels and 14 short story collections.
And how many did Jessica Fletcher write?
0. She's not real.
And she also wrote the world's longest running play, a murder mystery. What's it called, Frank?
Mousetrap.
And who were you in Mousetrap?
I was Inspector Trotter.
And who's Inspector Trotter?
I'm not saying,
Okay.
but just be careful of 3 bright mice.
And 6 romances. In 1971, she was appointed Dame Commander of the Order of the British Empire, DBE.
The disappearance of Agatha Christie, is that an actual historical event?
It is.
And
She disappeared for 11 days.
And it was really because of mutant alien wasp?
A Vespa form?
Yeah. But her husband leaving her and then her strange disappearance.
Yeah, and some people have speculated that she might have been so despondent over the affair because she had just found out about it that she might have been like going off contemplating killing herself. But nobody knows for sure.
I bet you it's something like that. Because it's high society embarrassment and all that stuff. She probably went off and had an anxiety attack and then, recovered. And of course, she's not going to talk about it. Or it was a Vespa form.
I mean, they're also saying that it could have been actually psychosomatic.
Right.
But she did have amnesia because of all the stress and had a nervous breakdown.
The doctor and Agatha question the guests, and no one has an alibi for the time of the murder. Agatha shares the clue she found, a scrap of burnt paper with the word maiden.
Maiden!
Yeah, what was that about? That was funny.
There is a reference.
But I will say, behind the scenes, the actress playing Agatha Christie is genuinely reacting to the loudness of David Tennant's delivery.
I enjoyed the interrogations. I mean, the whole show, this whole episode is like a murder mystery, but I did like the interrogations where one question would be with one person, and then you cut back to the doctor, and then it's on to the next person.
And
that's always a fun device.
I didn't recall until we were watching it where everyone started. Where was I? Let me think.
Yeah. Oh, and then the flashback too with the colonel like incepting his flashback.
Yeah, that's right. So from all the flashbacks, we are to infer that all men are sex fiends and all women are lushes and criminals. Apparently.
Well, Reverend go lightly.
He was just in his room.
Yeah.
But it does say that every single human being is a liar.
Yes. Yes.
But yeah.
We're talking about the stories. When the colonel starts talking, it reminded me in the way that he was talking and his voice, and I'm showing my age, Commander McBragg from Tennessee Tuxedo. Does anybody remember that?
Vaguely.
They would have little shorts inside the cartoon of Tennessee Tuxedo.
I remember Tennessee Tuxedo, but
Commander McBragg would always be talking about the time he went over and he fought single-handedly against 2,000 men and ends in some silly pun. Just the way he was saying it, just that image came right back to me.
was Tennessee Tuxedo Don
Don Adams.
Adams, okay.
Oh,
From Get
that's
Smart. And I liked how Lady Eddison kept talking, the way she was remembering. And
that's right. And
and saying all the dialogue that we all had just watched. It's like, yeah, we're caught up at that point.
Yeah, I was there for that.
These were great little bits.
Yeah.
This
Each one had a little fun story to it.
This is a fun episode. Like, what did we just do?
Doctor's Daughter?
Thank you. So this is a fun episode, just like Doctor's Daughter is, but I like this one better because this one sticks to its tone. It just
Yes.
nails its tone perfectly throughout the whole thing.
Even when they go off on more of a joke with the doctor reminiscing.
Yeah.
And there's a fade out to that. It's like, wait a minute, get back. It's okay because it sticks with a lot of the storyline.
Did you also notice what he was wearing? The only other time we saw him was in Blink.
Yes.
So I'm wondering
Wearing
if
the
that
arrows.
was the episode, if that was the adventure he was on when we saw him in Blink.
Who knows?
Donna searches upstairs and finds a locked room. She orders Greaves, which, by the way, Greaves instead of Jeeves.
Yes.
She orders Greaves, the butler, to open it. 40 years ago, Lady Eddison came back from India with malaria. After spending 6 months in this room recovering, she ordered it locked. Donna hears a buzzing outside the window, and when she pulls back the curtain, she sees an enormous human-sized wasp. Except everybody in this entire mansion is a human-sized wasp. Anyway. It breaks through the window, and Donna uses a magnifying glass to fend it off. She screams for the doctor and runs out of the room, closing the door behind her just as the wasp leads its giant stinger in the door. With the wasp now gone, the doctor collects some of the fluid from the stinger.
When the doctor gives Donna the magnifying glass and she's supposed to run up the stairs, she doesn't because of what she's wearing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it was funny in the script. It was like she runs up the stairs, but she can't physically.
I can hear Donna or Catherine. How am I supposed to run up that?
So her little hurried walk is funny to me now that I know that.
I like the line, 1926. Well, they still got bees.
That's our Bad Wolf-ish reference for the episode.
Mm-hmm. Just kind of a throwaway line. Not hinging on the entire plot, Mr. Moffat.
And when you said maiden, N or M is another book title.
Oh, really?
And so that's like, is this an N or an M? That's another reference for
Is that what they said right before you shouted it?
Yes.
Oh, I see.
Because they couldn't make out.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you have anything on the actress who plays Agatha Christie?
I guess we're at later. I'm just kidding. All I have is that she is Fenella Wolgar, and she was with David Tennant in Bright Young Things, and he knew he was right. I've never seen any of those.
She was great.
Yes, I agree with that.
Agatha taking evidence from a scene.
I know.
That's
Yeah.
Ooh, that's different now.
I saw him see her do it, but I didn't see that he saw it in a reflection.
No, I think he was just
Right.
saying that.
It's a bit of a stretch, but I bought it with the magnifying glass.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The shot was very set up, and so it didn't seem very natural in the way she was moving.
I don't think that was the issue. It was just how powerful the sun had to be at that point to get
of
it.
course. No,
Because it's like, no, it's going to take a while for you
Yeah,
to feel
yeah.
that. Don't get me wrong. It was
No,
like,
it's-
it
yeah.
worked. It was showing
Well,
that
it's
she
the
was
same
smart,
way that-
thought of that, and was
The
able to get
same
out
way
of the
the
room.
fellow's watch stopped.
Right.
Just because he fell. I thought in the beginning that if he fell on his arm or if they just did something where it was he didn't just fall and his arm was there.
Maybe he tried to defend himself, and that's where the pipe hit him.
Well, it's,
I mean, the wasp might have had to have done it. Might have had to have broken the watch because it was compelled to.
that's a good point.
Following the
Ooh.
template.
That's right.
It's true. Miss Chandrakala thinks she knows what the professor found in the library. On her way to tell Lady Eddison, a gargoyle is pushed from the building and lands on top of her.
And she looks at that thing for a long time before it falls.
The Doctor, Donna, and Agatha reach her as she utters her last words. The poor little child. The wasp is hovering above them and disappears back inside. They rush upstairs and it attacks them, but Donna reminds it of her magnifying glass. It flies down a hallway and changes back into one of the guests and mingles among them by the time the Doctor arrives.
See, that bugged me more about the magnifying
I
glass.
see what you did there.
Oh. Yeah, that's what I meant to do. Where she just sort of like, remember this that you didn't like? And then he runs away, as opposed to the fact that there's no light behind her to even do anything.
Yeah. But I like here that it says it's reverted back into human form, and I thought of Back to the Future.
Shoot it before it mutates back into its human form.
I'd also like to say that when they're looking down the hallway at all the people, they're still looking at a bunch of human-sized wasps. It's true.
It could be
The
Lutheran.
the hallway shot was fun. We had the son of Lady Eddison, and then like a second later, the butler. His head popped
the
out
footman.
of the footman.
Yeah.
His head popped out of the same room.
Oh,
that
I
was
didn't
just
catch
one of
that.
those like fun little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of little things.
Yeah.
They all ask Agatha for help since this sounds like a plot from her books. She says she can't help, and it's up to the Doctor. Donna and Agatha go outside to have a heart-to-heart and find a thief's case in the bushes containing tools to pick locks. The Unicorn is here. They show the case to the Doctor while Greaves serves them drinks. The Doctor realizes he has been poisoned with cyanide, and they run to the kitchen to mix up a cure.
I think here's another recurring thing with Donna. What Donna does with guest star people is she makes them feel good about themselves. She talks them up to themselves, people who are down on themselves. It's not always the common man like, say, Rose was or even Martha, but Donna will always make people feel better about themselves.
Yeah, but she does step in it.
Oh, she always puts her foot in her mouth because she's Catherine Tate.
I like
That's
this one where
the
it is
fun.
just kind of, oh, I'm trying to help you, I'm trying to help you, I'm trying to help you. Oh, so you've been talking about me.
But here is, I think, the most funny moment for me in this scene is the Doctor trying to mime or charade his way through the cure, and then Donna just completely getting it wrong. It's hilarious.
I almost wonder if he didn't know what she was going to hand him, like if that was a whole behind the scenes thing. Do you know anything about that?
In my research, I have not found anything on that.
That was great. The two, whenever they can do anything like that with each other, is great.
How is Harvey Wallbanger
One
one word?
word.
It's a song. It's a song. Memmy.
Camptown races.
She's still trying to be period.
And then he's salt. Too salty. Salt, too salty. A lot of fun. That was
It's good.
definitely fun.
It's good.
Going back to Chandralaka, and when the gargoyle fell, it made me immediately remember, and then there were none when the gargoyle was falling, or the stone was falling on Blore. Because I love that movie. I remember seeing that as a kid. Just watching it all the time.
I don't know
It's
that
an
one.
Agatha Christie.
Is it?
10 Little
variation of 10 Little Indians.
Oh,
Made from,
Makes-
it was a movie.
makes me think of Hot Fuzz, which is basically a spoof of a number of things.
When the doctor announces he's poisoned, the music changes and there's a bunch of bells,
Yeah.
chimes that
Yeah.
were going off. And I didn't know if they were trying to do feeling like a countdown, like a time bomb, tick, 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 tick kind of thing with the chimes, or was it kind of a remembrance of the cloister bells inside the TARDIS, that something's wrong, something seriously bad's going to happen.
It definitely ups the dramatic tension for that whole until they get to the kitchen.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
And there's that reference to the other Agatha Christie book, Sparkling Cyanide.
Yes.
And
Which,
run
when she
to
says,
run.
when she smells the glass, and
Bitter
she says
almonds.
it smells like bitter almonds, but the subtitle said
The caption says it runs.
it runs.
It runs. Cyanide. Sparkling cyanide.
But don't believe everything you read.
Yeah.
But should we be smelling all of our drinks
I know,
and
really.
avoiding bitter almonds? Is that the telltale sign of cyanide?
Yeah.
Bitter
Yeah,
almonds,
I
yeah.
remember,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Although I know this is an Agatha Christie plot, but like no one talks to Greaves. I mean, there's even that mysterious knowing look as he looks away, as he gives him the drink to the doctor, and then there's that disapproving stare as he goes away.
He knows his place, and if anybody would have asked, he said, "Yes, I saw who did it." Yes. But no, it's not my place to say.
I like when Donna tells him to go bottle something earlier.
Yeah. What do you do, sir? I bottle.
Well, that'd be fun if they go, "You knew all along? Why didn't you say anything?" Nobody asked me. As a storm rages outside, they all sit down to dinner, as you do.
Well, they're British.
To draw out the wasp, the doctor has put pepper in the soup, since it was traditionally used as an insecticide. Suddenly, the window blows open, the lights go out, and the wasp appears. Mass confusion erupts, and Lady Edison's necklace containing the Firestone jewel, a necklace she brought back from India, is whisked from her neck. Once the lights come on, the wasp is gone, but poor Roger is dead with a knife in his back.
And his face in his... it's just such a classic look of the knife in the back and the just dead.
Well, if he's in the soup, his face, he's not moving, that means they're dead. Otherwise, they would take their face out.
Just a polite thing to do.
Right, exactly. I did think this was very well edited because I kept watching to see if they hinted at all as to who the wasp was, and it was very even.
Mm-hmm.
But the Colonel's...
The Colonel, we don't see the Colonel.
Right, but his wheelchair has been tipped over.
Yes.
So yes, I just remember seeing the wheel spin. It's like, that's a great little shot of it going around.
Well, it makes it plausible for almost any of them, for the most part, to be the wasp, except for maybe the
Except
lady.
for the butler. The butler is with Lady Edison. He pushes her out of the room.
Right.
Or does he push Donna?
Takes Donna.
He takes Donna.
He takes Donna.
Okay, so the butler, Donna,
And
the
I think,
doctor,
and the lady, what's her name?
and Lady Edison.
I think because we see her directly after we see the wasp.
Yeah. Okay, and Donna even says, well, we know the butler didn't do it. The doctor wonders why the Vespa form is playing this game when it could just kill them. Agatha is tired of the doctor talking about aliens and tells him the killer is human. The doctor realizes that he has been looking at it all wrong. It is human motivation that is behind the murders, and since Agatha is so familiar with this kind of motivation, she should be able to solve this mystery.
I like that Agatha said, as human as you or I. It's the same thing. The doctor's not human, but he passes and is looking like a human.
I did like the one line that I think she said it around when they found the stinger in the door, where she says, "You utter such beautiful nonsense." Mm-hmm. And I found that interesting because to modern day, nonsense seems like ridiculous. But if you think of just the word itself, nonsense, it's something that doesn't make sense. So I wonder if it was more of an Agatha, this character's way of speaking, or is that the way that word was taken back then?
I don't know, but I like the way
But it was great.
Yeah, I like that. And I do like throughout this entire episode, the dialogue that the characters have. It seems very in 1926. Mm-hmm. Their phrases and the way they say things. And the actors do it really well.
Yeah, everyone's very good in this. And the comedy's played just campy enough, but not like a stage performance on film or anything like that. They held the comedy because you'd have to be a little heightened to play some of the silly comedy.
I did like watching it in black and white. Because I do think it added a little bit something to the show in the campiness, like you're saying, and the feel that you're going to get from it. So it just sort of, it changes your mind going, oh, I'm watching an old black and white film. So you're expecting it to be a certain way. So it follows along that way. So just a little tip. Try it once.
It is, I mean, the cinematography is lit in a higher contrast tonally. So I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they thought of that ahead of time.
Agatha begins her deduction. She first addresses Robina Redmond. No one has ever met her before today and says she's an imposter. She threw the lockpick case outside so Donna wouldn't find it. She is the Unicorn. Robina confesses and returns the Firestone, but is not the killer. Next is the Colonel. Before Agatha can speak, he stands from his wheelchair and confesses that he has been pretending to need it in order to keep Lady Edison by his side. That surprises everyone, even Agatha, who was only going to say he was innocent. Next is Lady Edison and the Firestone necklace. 40 years ago, when she returned from India, she was pregnant. She had to give up the poor child to avoid scandal. The doctor reveals that it was not a normal pregnancy. Lady Eddison tells them that the man she loved in India was an alien and gave her the necklace. He died in a monsoon, so she returned home where she had a baby boy that Mrs. Chandrakala took to an orphanage. Professor Peach figured this out and found the birth certificate in the library. All that is left of it is the burnt scrap of paper with the word maiden, as in maiden name.
And the Redmond, Mrs. Redmond, was played by
Felicity Jones.
of.
Oh,
Inferno.
Now known for.
Is she in Inferno?
Yeah, she's the female lead with Tom Hanks in Inferno.
Oh,
But
okay.
nobody saw it, so
Yeah.
that's why I was making that joke. Thanks for
Well, of Star Wars Rogue One, of what's the Stephen Hawking movie, The Theory of Everything? Is that right? Is she the one in that? Mm-hmm. And a number of others.
Lots of British movies.
Yes, British movies and shows.
I love that Donna's just eating like popcorn. through
Yeah,
this
she's
whole
watching.
thing, just loving that.
She's watching it like a
What's going
show.
on next?
I did think. I mean, I understand the sentiment behind when her lover revealed his true self to her, and it didn't matter because she still loved him anyway. But come on.
I don't know. Did you see the size of that stinger?
Well,
Heyo. And we're out. See you next time.
And I love how they have Donna, the temp, come up with the maiden name on the burnt piece of paper because she knows all the paperwork
yeah,
and how
all the
things are
paper-
done. So it's like,
yeah.
there we go.
I do like it when the doctor points right at her. It was Donna.
right.
Who came up with the idea?
And then what did he say when he points at Agatha? It was you, Agatha.
Providing the murder mysteries.
Fighting the right. Which we didn't get to yet. We're about to.
But that is kind of a cool thing when it's like, no, Donna, you've been saying it all along.
Yeah.
Giving Donna some more credit that she won't realize is credit. Now it gets complicated. The Firestone is a telepathic device containing the alien memories and essence of their child. Lady Eddison was reading Agatha Christie and wearing it the same night Reverend Golightly stopped the robbers in the church. He was very angry, which triggered his first transformation into a Vespa form. Sensing the transformation, the stone transferred the alien knowledge to Golightly along with Lady Edison's current state of mind reading a murder mystery, and thereby creating a template for his anger.
Is Reverend Golightly a secretly bad man, or this transformation awoke that in him?
This transformation awoke that in him.
Well, I say this transformation created that in him. And it seemed like the necklace held all the alien part of him.
So,
Which
if
wasn't
she-
bad either.
What if she
Right.
was reading the naughty books? Or...
Then this would be a very different episode and the stinger joke would stay in.
This would be a Torchwood episode.
No, I meant naughty, Noddy.
Nah.
Naughty. Did you actually think I meant naughty?
No.
Oh, okay.
It was just the play on words,
Okay.
play on sounds. But yeah, it's like he said, it created a template to go along with the alien part that was
Right.
awakened in him and transferred to him.
It just so happened
So
to
it's-
be.
yeah, so that's how he thought
You would handle a
things
situation
work,
like
how
this.
you handle it, how you deal with your anger. You use your lead pipe,
Mm-hmm.
you use a knife, you use poison.
Well, yeah, you also, just in general, want to punish people who sent you off to an orphanage. And this
Right,
is how
right.
you would punish them.
So what happened to the kids, the trespassers? Did they say even what happened to them? Or
I think
you
they're
just took
dead.
care of
I
them?
think they're dead.
But yeah,
No, they didn't, I don't think so because they
were apprehended.
became part of the news and they were apprehended.
oh,
so they
never
were
mind then.
probably
Yeah.
saying
They were just, tipsy or had too much to drink because they saw a wasp and it's like freaked them out. So it's like they were on
Okay.
something.
I guess just because of what the Wasp has been doing this episode, I just thought he killed the two ruffians. Whatever. I know
But
what
they
you
would
mean.
have mentioned
They just would say,
they were
saying
proud of the
apprehended.
doctor for handling them. I don't
You
think
mean
they
the Reverend?
Reverend,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
For handling them. I don't.
Yeah, I think
if
they just
if he had
dismiss it.
killed them,
Yeah, it's
I don't think they would have.
Anyway, that I'm just saying it's a little
Right.
inconsistent, but
But
it
you
makes
also
sense.
noticed that they kept saying it happened at night, thieves in the night, thieves in the night,
And then
in
the shot.
church,
There's
it's
amazing
bright daylight.
The light coming through that window is
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's bright
Yeah.
daylight going on.
Well, also, this takes place in the early part of December because that's when Agatha Christie went missing.
Oh yeah, so it would have gotten dark around 3:30.
So it's like, okay, just go with
go.
it.
Yeah, go with it.
I thought wrapping this all up just was a little bit too quick. We didn't get all of the clues. It's
Yeah.
like, what? And then the whole, Lady Edison and the Firestone necklace, soon to be changed to Harry Potter and the Firestone necklace. Just to know what that is. It's just like,
Yeah.
that's information that was not released to us. We did
Yeah.
not know that. Sure, the
Yeah.
doctor may know about this, species of alien.
Is that a
but it's one
MacGuffin?
of those, how are we supposed to figure this out if you don't give us the information for it?
Isn't that what they call a MacGuffin, where you just throw something into a story that has all the answers?
No, the MacGuffin is something that
Starts
they
the
want to
story.
obtain. You
The
want
Ark
to
of the
get
Covenant is the MacGuffin.
the
The
Maltese
Maltese-
Falcon.
Oh, am I thinking of a red herring? I don't know.
They're kind of similar, but
Red herrings
Yeah.
are misdirects.
but they're sort of like similar where they don't really have anything at the end of what you find out they are. They're just things to kind of move the plot.
They just didn't give us all the clues.
Yeah.
Or Cluedos. Huh.
Oh,
Don't give me that look. Okay, I deserved it, but don't give it to me.
After being discovered, Reverend Golightly transforms into a wasp. What was he before? Agatha grabs the Firestone and runs outside. She drives away, followed by the Doctor and Donna in another car, with the wasp flying behind. She arrives at Silent Pool Lake, planning for the wasp to kill her, therefore ending its murder spree. The Firestone glows and psychically connects Agatha and the wasp. Donna grabs the Firestone and throws it into the lake. The wasp follows after it and drowns. As it dies, Agatha is released from the psychic connection, but she has amnesia of what happened that day with the Unicorn and the Wasp.
It was sad when the doctor said, but he had no choice. And Donna, well, neither did I. He's going to kill. We had to stop that.
Hey-
And I did like how they did that where you got the wasp's perspective. It doesn't quite listen to the doctor or Donna, but you can hear their muffled voice. He's not listening. Or, he's not listening. So,
Has Donna killed or hurt other people unintentionally so far? Like I seem to feel like that's a common theme where she
well, there's
tries
the-
to do something, but it
The
kind of
Arachnos,
backfires. Maybe.
But that's the Doctor.
Well, the Pompeii episode when they just made the decision to destroy the people of Pompeii.
Okay.
You mean
But-
the
no, but Donna
the
tries
lo-
to save everyone.
Yeah.
To save at
But
least
usually,
one.
yeah.
This is, I think, the only time she really
Where
does.
right.
Knowingly, this will kill the wasp. It's what needed to be done. We didn't have a choice. It'll still come after us. It's not listening. It's not paying attention. It's not something you can reason with at this
yeah.
point.
Right.
And we can't give it the time because it will kill before we get to reason with it.
And it is sad because that the character of the Reverend had no choice in any of this matter.
It's interesting, this one paired with the Doctor's Daughter, where we just had a bunch of soldiers that were programmed. You know, you can't really fault the humans or the Hoth from the last episode because that was in their head the same way with this wasp. And I'm trying to think what's coming up. And is that a theme that we've seen more from the showrunner?
Well, this one I think was more of time sensitive.
Yeah.
He will attack us and kill us.
But I
The
mean,
timing.
like, I don't even blame the Reverend and the Wasp for his
Right,
actions
right.
because they weren't his own, according to the story.
The doctor says that the Reverend released the psychic connection and chose to save a life, Agatha's life. It's like
Oh, really? I didn't catch
at the
that.
end of that, yeah, when he's holding her, and I'm just wondering, well, did that just an interpretation of what happened, or
Or he drowned.
he drowned and that broke the link?
Well, I
It's like-
think
it's a nice
if
way to
the-
think of it, since we were talking about how we can't blame the Reverend for what he's doing, and it's so maybe
Or he was like, well, I'm going to drown anyway. May as well not take her with me.
or became human
Well,
again, and that other one broke.
Maybe
the
I'll
other
not
old-
take
old
her with
connection.
me.
He might have known that if you're psychically linked with a Vespa form at the moment of its death, you die. And since Agatha Christie didn't die, that must indicate that the Vespa form chose to sever the link before death actually occurred. It's one way you could rationalize it. We hear the bells again
yes,
around this point.
or the
too,
chimes,
don't we?
whatever they are.
Yeah.
And this ending felt very much like a Star Trek episode where the bad guy is not really a full through and through bad guy, just kind of like misunderstood. Mm-hmm. And that's where the drama sort of comes from.
No, bees and wasps are misunderstood. We actually need them, and we always get upset that they're going to sting us.
As the Doctor and Donna prepare to leave, they speculate that the amnesia wasn't complete and some of what happened spilled through into her stories. The Doctor shows Donna a copy of Death in the Clouds that was published in the year 5 billion. People never stopped reading her stories, and she is the best-selling novelist of all time.
I like when the Doctor pulls out the chest for C in the TARDIS console. He pulls out a C, including a Cyberman chest plate from the Age of Steel. And then Brian has a disagreement on this, but it could be whatever. The head of a Greco-Roman statue, possibly depicting Caecilius from Fires of Pompeii.
And
I
I think
thought
it's Caesar.
And that's where the disagreement comes from. And then the crystal ball in which the Carrionites are trapped from the Shakespeare Code.
Screaming.
Yes, that was good.
So I like all those little callbacks.
And cables. Cables were in C as well.
Yeah.
But if it is Caecilius, that almost kind of works because then later on the Doctor has a head of
Somebody he
looks like
Yeah.
and who frowned these frown lines. So- but why would, well, he was a marble dealer, so maybe he would have a statue of himself.
Yeah, who knows?
And reference in other episodes. That's good.
Yeah.
Pompeii.
Yeah.
This episode is littered with references to Agatha Christie novels and short stories.
TARDIS Wiki.
TARDIS Wiki. Give them good credit
Yeah,
of it.
or
I
at
think the
least credit,
Okay,
yeah.
so-
best place to find it would be the
Yeah.
TARDIS Wiki. Should have a
Let's see, Donna mentions Mrs. Marple. That's actually something that we mentioned. Did we mention that? Did we talk about that? She keeps mentioning Miss Marple. But in the show itself, they say what that is. Let's see, when the Doctor is poisoned, sparkling cyanide is one of her future titles of her future novels. The Colonel faking his inability to walk and the Unicorn posing as Robina Redmond are ideas that appeared in the Christie novel After the Funeral. The Man in the Brown Suit. The Doctor wears a brown suit throughout the course of the episode. In the original teaser sequence, elderly Agatha wonders who the man in the brown suit was that had haunted her for 50 years. Dead Man's Folly. Miss Chandra Laka's Chandrakala's description of the professor's book as in A Dead Man's Folly. Not the actual name of the book, though. Body in the Library. Donna's remark about about Professor Peach's death. Cat Among the Pigeons. A servant's remark about the murder. Nemesis, one of Agatha Christie's nicknames for the murderer, also used for the episode title of the Doctor Who Confidential episode, looking at the Unicorn and the Wasp. The Secret Adversary, another of Agatha's nicknames for the murderer. And she says that in the episode. And we mentioned for Maiden. Murder on the Orient Express. Donna mentions it to Agatha, unaware of the book that she hasn't even written yet. Why didn't they ask Evans? The professor's remark before he dies is, why didn't they ask Evans?
That was a good one. That was fun.
The book's title refers to the murder victim's last words. They do it with mirrors. Agatha's explanation about the giant wasp, believing it was to be a hoax. Appointment with death. Lady Eddison says
about.
Oh, Chandrakala?
Had an appointment with death when mourning over her son's death.
Yeah, and that one you could definitely pick up that she's saying,
Yeah.
but she was supposed to see me, but had an appointment with death.
Yeah. I like that. It was obviously the show was making fun of itself in that regard. Cards on the table. The phrase the Colonel used when he asked Agatha about what she knew about the mystery. Sparkling cyanide, as we said before, when she smelled the Doctor's lemonade. Yellow iris. Is that the flowers that the
case.
that the
So you were both saying the same thing.
Yeah, that the thieves' tools were had broken. A short story included in the Regatta Mystery and Other Stories. At the diner where the Doctor spikes the soup with pepper to smoke out the Vespa-form, there is a case of yellow iris as its centerpiece. It was later expanded to novel length as sparkling cyanide. So there's 2 points in it then. Crooked House, how Agatha described the history of the 4 remaining suspects, and consequently, Eddison Manor. Endless Night, how the Doctor described the evening of events at the start of the debriefing. Taken at the flood. Lady Eddison and Christopher was taken with the flood. Oh, the moving finger. The Doctor pointed at Donna, Agatha, and Lady Eddison at the start of his portion of the debriefing and literally said, "The moving finger points at you!" when he turned to Lady Eddison, even going so far as to moving his finger in a circular motion. The murder of Roger Ackroyd. Lady Eddison is reading the book of that when the Firestone is activated. Moreover, Lady Edison's son is named Roger.
And I didn't get that connection.
Before. Yes.
But because why kill Roger? But then she was reading the merger of Roger.
Why kill Roger? There you have it.
Well, he's also the heir.
And brother.
Yeah, but
It's a mislead to think, a red herring.
well,
It's a number of things. Death comes as the end. Agatha said, "Death comes as the end and justice is served" after Golightly's death. Murder at the vicarage. The doctor called the events "murder at the vicar's rage" after Golightly's death. Though after Donna recognized his verbal mangling, he admitted it could do with some work. Death in the Clouds. In the TARDIS, the Doctor showed Donna the facsimile copy of this book published in the year 5 billion, with the Fontana edition covering showing a giant wasp attacking a plane. In the original final scene, when the Doctor showed the elderly Agatha Christie facsimile edition, she said that the cover was the giant wasp, gave gave her a shock when she first saw it. In the book, the murder victim is originally thought to have died from a wasp's sting. Oh, I get it. The 10 Little Indians, or also known as And Then There Were None. The main enemy is a bee-like creature, and the doctor is poisoned with cyanide. One of the murders in the novel involves a bee and a cyanide injection. So if you're kind of nerdy about finding out all the references, that's a bunch of them.
And there was one thing that you read about the book cover being shown to an elderly Agatha Christie. There's a deleted scene that was supposed to be a framing device.
Yeah, I was wondering what this was saying.
Yeah, so there was an old-aged Agatha Christie, and the Doctor and Donna go and visit her, and they tell her, like your work continues beyond, and people are still reading it. But they decided to cut it because it felt sad. It's on the DVD extras as a deleted scene, so you can see it. But I think the choice is correct to remove that because it just ends with them talking in the TARDIS about her legacy rather than telling an aging Agatha Christie about it.
And that scene in the TARDIS was written a lot later. They had already filmed other episodes, and they went back because they had edited the show and didn't like it. So when they decided to take it out, they quickly wrote a TARDIS scene, and the two of them filmed that TARDIS scene.
And I don't think this is the whole list of references for Agatha Christie. Because, like I said, the gargoyle falling down on...
Miss Chandrakala.
Right, was similar to Blore in And Then There Were None. And also the Little Grey Cells, which was a Hercule Poirot story. So there were even more in there.
I'm sure there's a bunch more.
But those are a good amount.
You want to leave comments on our Facebook page if you know some that we haven't mentioned. Who's Edward Lear? Somebody refers to Edward Lear.
He was an author who he did a whole bunch of different things, but he was known for making nonsensical poems.
A quick trivia fact is that Christopher Benjamin, who played Colonel Kirbishley, previously appeared in classic Who episodes. He played Sir Keith Gold in Inferno, and then Henry
right.
Gordon Jago in The Talons of Wang Chiang.
Talons.
That's what he said, didn't he?
What he said.
Oh, okay.
I did like that they took Agatha to the Harrogate Hotel. You can see the Doctor and Donna in the background with the TARDIS. So it's like, okay, well, let's take her now. And they just jumped ahead the amount of... I've seen it both. I think it's 11 days. The Doctor says 10 days in this, but...
I think in real life it was
11.
No, he says 11 in the show.
Does he? Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
I like that they just had a little bit of her just in that fog and not knowing who these people are. And
she looks
just
back
to
at
put that
him.
there. The Old Swan Hotel is in Harrogate.
Ah.
So...
Yeah,
No, I like all that.
The silent pool is where they found her car. That's real, where they discovered it. And then the Harrogate Hotel, where the Doctor leaves Agatha, is fictitious. In real life, the hotel where she was found was the Swan Hydro, now the Old Swan Hotel.
I wonder if that name means anything. That's weird
Well,
that they would...
It's in My Fair Lady.
That is weird,
Harrogate,
though, that with all of these
Hertfordshire.
other accuracies, they would just...
It
Put
doesn't
a
match
different
this doesn't match the true disappearance story.
No, but they put a lot in, like Silent Lake.
No, they did.
11
They
days.
put a ton in, but they also, for
Her-
dramatic purposes, didn't follow.
But that doesn't seem to make sense. Why not put it at the proper...
Yeah, like, of all things to change, why
Yeah.
change the name of the hotel?
Oh.
Another bit of trivia is that David Tennant's dad makes an appearance in this episode. Alexander McDonnell, who has passed since, plays the footman that is just in the background. So if you notice, there's an older gentleman, not Greaves, but somebody else is in there. And you can tell he's different from Greaves because he has the like the gold trim on his collar and his uniform.
Livery.
Okay, I didn't know what that was called.
Because one's a butler and one's a footman.
Yes. And Alexander MacDonald was a Scottish minister, the moderator of the General Assembly of the Church of Scotland.
Well, okay.
Oh, another trivia fact.
Another wasp.
Another trivia fact is that the unicorn is Scotland's official animal.
Oh, really?
Is the wasp and unicorn?
Let's try nothing.
And this saying that Agatha Christie checked into the Swan Hotel under an assumed name of Teresa Neal. And then later on recognized. So she was there either for...
Oh, it doesn't say who
breakdown.
Trisha Neal is?
Teresa Neal?
Yeah.
Wasn't that the...
That's the woman that her husband had an affair with.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That was the name she checked under.
Maybe she was in a fugue state.
That's a lot of people think that might have been. She was so distraught over it. Because it came as a huge shock to her, I believe.
especially someone who's always seeing clues. We don't always see the clues
Didn't
in our
see that
own
one
lives.
coming, yeah.
I like that part where it's like, I'm a writer. I'm not around murders. I've never been around murders. I'm a writer.
The Unicorn and the Wasp. Who is this episode good for? Or this episode is good for who?
I think it's a little bit too much to introduce somebody. So I don't think it's for new. It's close to being for everybody, but just that includes the new people. And it's like, I wouldn't start someone off with this. So I'm going to put in the next category, which is casual. And again, our categories are new, casual, fan, or diehard.
I like your thinking, Frank. And I think if I knew somebody that was a diehard Agatha Christie fan, like I might introduce Doctor Who with this to them with this episode, but that's a very small niche.
Right, there's always a caveat that there's going to be somebody you can
Yeah.
introduce pretty much every episode with.
So I think I agree that it. I would definitely show this to a casual viewer, somebody who has a little bit of experience with Doctor Who. I think it was a really good episode. The murder mystery structure worked well, and they got to play in that. And Donna and the Doctor were on point. So a lot of good things in this episode.
I think it's good for a new Who viewer. I think you get the gist of them playing with history, like the Shakespeare Code or anything like that with this. And you can also, if you know enough about the world, you know that he goes to different planets and things like that. So I think this is such a well-produced episode that it's good for anybody.
You know, I was going to say casual, but I can't do the same thing as Frank. So you kind of convinced me. I think I'm gonna teeter over into new viewer territory, because it's not the strongest episode, but again, like last week's, it's a fun episode. I think the writing is stronger in this. The characters are definitely themselves. You know, this gives you a good showing of what the Doctor's like, what Donna's like. And, you know, it's a history one, so a new viewer will be like, oh, you're traveling through time. Okay, great.
And you get a sense of how the show plays with history.
Yeah.
And everybody's played Clue, so even if you haven't watched Doctor Who, you get the joke.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's Who Clue.
I buy that edition.
Who Cluedo? For me, I think I'm going to put it in the casual category because it's very fun. Don't get me wrong. It's great, but I don't know, there's something about this that you have to sort of be aware of what Doctor Who is. Like, I enjoy fiction that takes something from history and expands upon it, kind of like in Tooth and Claw when they explain why the royal family has hemophilia. And then this one, it explains, like, where's that missing time gone from Agatha Christie's...
Real life disappearance.
her disappearance and her amnesia. That's what I was looking for.
So you forgot the word amnesia.
That's
ironic.
That's not ironic at all.
How meta.
So I really enjoy when fiction does that. All these Agatha Christie references. I mean, the first time I watched it, I didn't really know. So I think a lot of people can get a lot out of that. Not for a new, but for a casual viewer. You've heard our views. We have 2 people putting it in the new viewer category and 3 of us putting it in the casual viewer category. What would you put the Unicorn and the Wasp in? And let us know why. Leave us comments on our Facebook page for this episode's post. And you can also email us at whodunnit@gmail.com. That wraps up the Unicorn and the Wasp. Thanks for listening. We will see you next time when the future becomes the present. You've just listened to an episode of Who Knew?
Our wonderful theme music is by Michael Grady.
Find him on Facebook at The Universe Explodes.
All our episodes are engineered by me, Auburn.
Find him at auburnbinkley.com.
You can find this show in several places.
Follow us on Twitter at Who Knew Podcast.
Subscribe, review, and listen to us on iTunes and Stitcher.
Or our YouTube channel, youtube.com/whoknewpodcast.
Visit our Facebook page.
Please leave comments, reviews, and click like to help support the Who Knew podcast.
Also listen to us on your Amazon Echo by enabling a podcast skill.
All of our episodes are on whoknewpodcast.com.
This podcast is inspired by Doctor Who.
And especially the revival spearheaded by Russell T. Davis.
Thanks to Russell,
Sydney Newman,
Verity Lambert,
Ron Grainer,
and all those involved in the adventures of our favorite Time Lord.
Your work continues to inspire and entertain.
Hi. Hello. Hi. Hello, my name is...
Oh my.
Oh, it looks like you're in the middle.
Yeah, we're in the
I
recording.
didn't see those.
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
No problem.
I can let you go.
Okay. Bye.
That is not what I expected.
Yeah, see, I was going to say earlier, and I decided not to. If I hear a bee in the room that I'm in,
Yeah, it's
one,
going.
I'm not going to go, let it go. But if I do go over to it, it's dead. Sorry. I don't like bees.
Send your comments to whodunnit@gmail.
Care of Brian.
No bee, Brian.
Hey.